Hi friends, welcome back to Love Good Kitchen, or hello if you're joining us for the first time. My name is Matthew and I'm so glad you're here. Today we are going to be making Twix cookies, and we are not making those cookies that have little pieces of Twix candy bar in them. In our family we call those hidden treasures. Maybe that will be a future video that you can look forward to. And they are also not cookies that look visually like a Twix bar. It's more of Twix deconstructed, so flavors coming together to be like a Twix. So, before I go further, I do want to mention that in the last video, I tried a new lighting situation because I know that this can sometimes create a shadow on my face in these videos. I tried it and it didn't do anything. It didn't work. So back to the drawing board. I will keep brainstorming what to do. Maybe I need to do more of this. Maybe I need to be more back here. We don't know, but we'll keep checking it out. Okay, anyway, I have my stand mixer ready to go here. As I've mentioned before, with most things, you can do it without a stand mixer. You could do it with a hand mixer, or you could do it just with your own arm strength and a whisk or a spoon. It's just going to take you a little bit longer. But I have my Pampered Chef stand mixer out, and in here I have, what do I have? Half a cup of granulated sugar and 1 stick of softened butter. That's 8 tablespoons, or half a cup of butter. So we're going to cream that together. Let's do that first. Okay. Okay, I think that'll do it. Next, I have 1 egg white. That's the egg white, not the yolk. I'm going to add that in. Ta-da. And then we're also going to put in 1 teaspoon of vanilla. I'm not even going to bother to get out our measuring spoon for this one because, as we've talked about before, the cap of your vanilla bottle is equal to 1 teaspoon. There we go. So let's just get that together. Okay, that looks good. And that is a good instance or a good example of a time when we probably do want to use a mixer or a hand mixer, because it did take a couple minutes for that to fully incorporate because of the consistency of the egg white to get fully blended in to that butter and sugar. It took a little bit, so I'm glad I didn't have to do that. But you can, if you really want to, or you don't have a mixer, you can do it. Okay, now I need to get a bowl. Let's see, which bowl do I want to use? Maybe I'll use one of these. How about my Pampered Chef bowl? Okay, so the recipe says to add the baking powder and the flour directly in there. I'm a little skeptical. I never like to do that. I like to mix them together first and then add them in. So that's what we're going to do. I don't think it's going to hurt anything. Would it work to just dump it into your butter mixture? Probably. But I don't know that we've talked about this before in a video, but flour does settle in your bag or your container, however you store it. So you want to give it a little fluff with a spoon or your scooper or what have you. And then when you go to measure it out, I have my measuring cup here, you want to just kind of tumble it in. Tumble, and then level it off so that you have a level 1 cup measure. You don't want to pack it down. The only time you want to do that is if you're doing brown sugar. Oftentimes in a recipe, it will instruct you to do a packed cup of brown sugar. But otherwise, no. And the reason for that is because, like I said, flour does settle. So depending on the humidity and how you've stored your flour and if you pack it down or not, you could end up with almost 20 to 25% more flour in your recipe than you want, what you don't want. So for this, we need a cup and 1/2 of, this is all-purpose flour. Whoa. Speaking of tumbling, kind of had a puff of flour on the run that I did kind of make a mess. That's okay. We're going to put some flour on the counter in a second anyway. And then we need 1 teaspoon of baking powder. As always, don't worry about trying to write down the measurements if you're interested in this recipe, because I will put it in the description box, sometimes referred to as the show more box, below this video. I'm just going to take a whisk and get this mixed up a little bit. There, I think that's fine. What do I want to do with this? I'll put it over here. So now we are going to add this to our butter and sugar, egg white and vanilla, and maybe, there it goes. I'm going to go halvesies. I put half of it in. We're going to give it a mix. And let's use this one. And this, you just want it to go until you don't see streaks of the white flour. And that about does it. Now I'm going to put the other half in. It may just be in my mind, but I feel like when you do the dry ingredients in at least a couple stages, it incorporates evenly better. And I think that's about good. All right. And as you may or may not be able to see in the video, and I'm fully aware of, I have an array of dishes that are waiting to be washed. That's just kind of always, it's perpetual. It's our constant state of affairs here in our household. There is a period of time, I don't know, I'd say between 6 and 7 p.m. that, and it's probably not that whole time, at least 20 minutes or so, where I don't have any dirty dishes that are waiting to be cleaned. Dishes have been washed, no one has consumed anything that needs to be washed, but that's about it for the window of time for that. That's okay. Okay, what do I want to do now? Let me get a rubber spatula so I can get the dough bits off of the paddle. Okay. And I'm still practicing on how to do this backwards because I want you to be able to see the mixing bowl and stuff in the video rather than have it turn to face me and then have the mixers back to the camera, as it were. Whoop, we got a jumper. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, we did pretty good. Getting our dough off of there. So now what we're going to do is roll out our dough. we're going to roll out our dough. Let me just push this all into one ball here real quick. There. We're going to roll out our dough about 1/4 inch-ish thick. So typical, not real thick, but not paper thin. Let's save that just in case we need that. And I think I'm going to slide this out of the way a little bit more. That's good. Okay, so we're going to lightly dust our work surface with some flour. Should do it. And then let's get our dough out of the bowl here. Okay. Just bring this together into a bowl. Okay, maybe I'll just do a little like this. And then my rolling pin, dust that a little bit, and we're gonna roll this out. If you find, oh, there was a little spot. If you find that it's sticking a little bit, just dust it with a little more flour. It's fine. You're not adding that much flour to your dough or your recipe when you do that it's gonna alter the outcome. So fear not. It's also a rainy day here, which sometimes is not the ideal condition for baking. Has to do with, I don't know, humidity and science. What we're going to do is cut round circles, discs out of this dough. Gosh, that one spot is just cranky. Okay. We're going to cut out husband sighting. We're going to cut out round discs. I'm going to use my 2-inch biscuit cutter. You can use a cookie cutter. If you don't have any of those, you could use a juice glass or a small glass to cut them out. Any of those would work. There's one spot that seems a little there. Seemed a little thicker. All right, I'm going to put some flour over here just to dunk my cutter in a little bit. Let's start over here. And then we're going to see how many we can get out of this piece of rolled dough. And then we'll take the scraps and we'll bring it back together, re-roll it, and keep going because we don't want to waste any of that nice dough. So just to give you a roadmap here of where we're going with these Twix cookies, we're cutting these out. We're going to put them into the oven and let them bake. This is sort of that bottom layer inside the Twix, if you will, right? That sort of cookie, crunchy, shortbreadish, whatever layer where you have to let them cool completely. And then we're going to do a little swirl of caramel and then top that with a little bit of chocolate so we get the Twix experience. You know what I did get out now that my hands are all floury? Okay. Now I don't have, maybe I can move this so I can bring my cookie sheet over. Let's do that. And I do have it lined with a silicone baking mat. You can use some parchment, or you could just grease your cookie sheet or your sheet pan or whatever it is you're using. This is an offset spatula, and I like to use these just to get underneath the cookie. And we're going to put those onto our prepared baking pan. Oh, so that edge got a little frayed, but as I said in the last video, you take your spatula and you just tap around the edge a little bit, then it's a nice perfect circle again, and you're good to go. I think I had written down how many, yes, this is going to make 20 to 24 cookies. So could be up to 2 dozen. How many do we have on here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13. So let me switch trays. And let's see, I don't know. Do you think we can get around 10 more out of there? Maybe. We're about to find out. About to find out. Let me just sprinkle that over here. Oh. And then I moved my flour over there. I better get it because I'm sticking. Okay. I need a bigger counter here. That's not a good idea. I'll block your view. Do a little bit on here, and then some for my rolling pin. There. And you probably know this already, but just in case you are newer to baking, the reason why you want, when you roll out a dough, why you want it to be as even as possible rather than some spots thicker, some spots thinner, is because if that happens, then your cookies are all going to bake at a different rate. Some might take 10 minutes while another takes 6. And so unless you take some of them off of the hot tray, which you don't want to do, you're going to have some that are a little over baked and then some might be under, and it's harder. So you want them to be all approximately the same. Okay. Dust, 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 and a little bit of flour. Let's see what we can do here. It's pretty good. There's 3, 4. Ooh, and we can get more. Excellent. So that's 5. So let's see, 13 plus 5, that's 18. Oh, I know we can get at least 2 more. Let's see what it's going to end up being. This is a fun game. Little flour. How'd you like that measurement? And I'm kind of patting and touching it with my hand because I can feel better. I can feel the dough better as far as thickness. And that is pretty good. It's pretty even. Okay, dunk my cutter. Go 1, 2. There isn't enough space to get more than 2, but we still have some dough here. We're gonna keep re-rolling. Rolling, rolling, rolling. 2. So let's see. I think we can get I think only one's gonna fit out of this. Yep. Okay, I think that's where we landed. So that was 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. That's not too bad. This little bit of, well, maybe we could do a mini one. Sometimes the mini cookies then I give to my son Ramsey, because he's still a little mini human, so he can have a mini cookie. Just kind of free forming it here because my cookie cutter isn't going to fit. Oh, that's not too bad. Whoa, flipper. Okay. So I have preheated my oven to 350 degrees, and both of these trays of cookies are going to go in for about 6 to 8 minutes, or just until they're no longer glossy looking on top and they've puffed up a little bit. You don't want these to be like golden brown, just enough. So I'm going to try it 6 minutes, and then I'll keep checking it. If they need a little more, might do a minute or 2 at most, but I'll let you know. I'll bring you back so we can talk about next steps. Okay, we'll be back. Okay, so our timer went off. Cookies are ready to come out of the oven. It was about 7 minutes for mine. I checked at 6. They didn't seem quite ready. So take these out of here. And there you go. Hopefully you can see a little bit. They are puffed up slightly, but they're no longer glossy or shiny on top. And I think they'll be perfect. And they are not golden brown on the edges, but I can tell that they are ready to go. So what we need to do is allow these to cool completely. I would say at least an hour for them to be totally cool. And then we can move on to the next step, which is making the little caramel swirl, and that will be topped with some chocolate. But stay tuned, we'll be back soon and we'll show you the next part. Okay, bye. Okay, our cookies are cool. They have cooled, and now it's time for the next step. So I have in this bowl 40 little square caramels that have been unwrapped. Honestly, this is the, I won't say hardest, the most time consuming portion of this recipe is to get the cellophane wrappers off of each one of these. It didn't take that long, I'm being silly, but I did that previously. Actually did that last night while we were watching television, and I put them in a bowl. There are 2 tablespoons of milk. I used whole milk in with the caramels, and we're going to put these into the microwave at 30-second intervals until they are melted, and we'll stir it around so that it's all even and creamy. And then we're going to put a little smear onto our cookies. So let me put this into the microwave. Like I said, we're going to do 30-second intervals. I'll keep checking it until we get the melty consistency we want. Also, I don't recommend that you use the more liquid like caramel sauce instead of doing melting caramels. It's just not the same. It doesn't set up in the same way that this will. So in case you had that thought. Now I think we're going to be just right. I'm going to keep giving this a stir. There, now it's nice and smooth. You can probably hear the kids, they're up from their nap. Okay, I'm gonna get a spoon. Okay. That in there. So let's see. We're just gonna put a little, this is the plan that I've done before. Let's hope that it works. We're gonna put a little dollop on the cookie, and then we're gonna use the underneath part of the spoon to spread it out a little bit. Okay. So like that, and then hopefully you can see, I'm just using the back of the spoon. There, I think that'll work good. Next one. Oh, I thought you did. And I don't know how much of the caramel I'm putting on each cookie. It's definitely not a tablespoon. I'd say it's closer to. We're gonna pop these into the fridge so that they chill for about 15 minutes, and that's going to get the caramel to set up a little bit, because we don't want it to be so molten when we do the next part, which is a little smear dollop of chocolate to complete our Twix cookies. Looks good. Because if we did it right now and we didn't chill them, then the chocolate and the caramel would they would get kind of smushy, if you know what I mean. They would blend together. Okay, so this tray is good. Let me move this over here, and I'm gonna finish up doing this to the remaining cookies. Okay, so this tray is done. I'm gonna take both trays, pop them into the fridge for about 15 minutes so that they can chill and the caramel can set up and be a little bit more firm before we do the last step. All right, we'll bring you back. Okay, we are back. Our cookies, our Twix cookies, or soon to be fully Twix cookies, have chilled in the fridge for about 15 to 20 minutes to set up that caramel a little bit, because in the meantime, I have some melted chocolate. This is 1 cup of chocolate chips. I used semi-sweet chocolate chips, and I put them in this bowl, popped it in the microwave. I did 30 seconds at a time. I stirred after each interval, and it took about 2 minutes, I'd say, of total microwave time to get it to a nice melty, smooth consistency. And now we're going to finish up these Twix cookies. And what we do is take a little dollop. That one was kind of a large dollop. Maybe it doesn't have to be that much. We're going to put it down in the middle. And again, with the back of the spoon, I just give it a little swirl. Maybe a little heavy-handed here with the chocolate on the first few, but I don't think we'll have many complaints that there was too much chocolate. Now, this is personal aesthetic preference, but I don't go out as far to the edge or make as big of a circle of the chocolate as I did the caramel, whichever way you say it, because I like for you to be able to see both. Do you know what I mean? If I did the chocolate the same diameter circle as the caramel, you would taste it, of course, but it would be covered up. You wouldn't be able to see it. And I kind of like the graduated circles. There we go. Give this recipe a try. I think you're really going to like it. Let's see if I can. Oh, there's my chocolate thumb. I'm going to eat it. There is our beautiful cookie. You want to let these set for a little while so that the chocolate isn't runny. It will set up if you give it some time. But yeah, give this a try. They're not that hard and they're tasty. And let me know what you think. Leave a comment down below the video. I'd love to hear from you. And yeah, let me know if you have some ideas of some recipes that you want me to try. If you want me to do in a future video, let me know that as well, because that would be fun too. So I think that about does it for this one. Like this video, give it a thumbs up, hit that icon because it does help our channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. That way you'll know each time we post a new video, you'll be notified. And it also is another way for you to help out our little channel here on YouTube. So thanks again for joining me. Enjoy some tasty Twix cookies, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.